Hello, I'm Jody Wolf. You're watching Expoz October 27, 2016 at 11:04 p.m. And topic, so many little topics here. Um, Somebody got his panties in a uproar, or whatever you want to call it. And Glenn Beck forgot that George Soros used to own Hillary Clinton. He may have forgotten, but I haven't. He still owns her, Glenn. Just to let you know. And the UN told Israel to get off of my hill. Can you imagine what Benjamin Netanyahu said to that little squirt? And on top of all this, going back to putting his pennies in an uproar, you got 40 million people on a mass evacuation in Russia because of something that we did. Let me tell you something. They ain't never been afraid of Obama, and they're not today. They don't even like him. They like him is about as far as I can throw Hillary Clinton, and she's a little bit out of my throwing range. But a mass evacuation, what does that mean? Preparedness. Let me tell you what it means. It means evacuation. It means get out of Dodge. Well, crap. Don't you know if somebody's going to drop a bomb on you and you got an empty city right there and you got 40 million people standing right there, which would be the best target? You want to blow up an empty city so that they can get really mad at you? Or you want to blow them up and then over time you will have enough babies to fill the empty city up? Or do you have a place underground where you're going to hide them? That comes up and brings a new question. Since when, Russia, do you care about your citizens? Not in my lifetime. I mean, unless you started 2 weeks ago. And even if you did, where are you going to put those people? You have the same facilities underground. You may have more of them. I know. Oh, Hitler had enough. Hey, maybe that's where you're going. Didn't even think about that. Over in Hitler's cubby holes, he had thousands of them. Point is, if there's a mass evacuation going on because of something that came out of America, it didn't come out of Obama's mouth because he ain't got a doggone. It's called coward or chicken, you know what? And if you did, where are you going to put them? Where are you going to put them? I know you don't have the space underground because do you know what it takes to feed 40 million people? You'll be out of food tomorrow. I mean, you already run out living on top of the ground. All right, let's move on from there. Oh yeah, let me bring in one more. But I'm gonna do this one. We're gonna do New York City, and we're gonna do 3 or 4 states, smaller states, all right there in a circle. Just say this. Did you know that half of the population of the United States was within 500 miles of Knoxville, Tennessee? Did you know that? Well, that is the truth. That's why the World State Fair went there X number of years ago, because they go in places where there is the largest percentage of the population are close by. They were in New York in 1932. One day I'll tell you about that story. No, I wasn't there, but my grandmother was. And her family owned part of that. But let me tell you, you got a bomb that one day soon is going to rain down on New York because we've upset Putin and he's preparing. So he's told everybody, I'm going to give you time to evacuate. You know what? If anybody said, all right, everybody within, just make it, don't make it 500 miles, make it 150 miles in New York City, get out of Dodge because the bomb's coming down. Well, guess what'll happen? At midnight, whoever ordered them out, they get a phone call. Hey, we're the troopers. We got a problem. What's that? He said, there's 300,000 wrecks out there. The streets and highways are clogged. They're stopped. Nothing's moving. But we got 30 million people running down the road. And half of them are dropping dead out of fright. That's one scenario. Now let's see what else could make Russia mad. Again, it's not Hillary either. They respect her about as much as I do. So that rules out, respect for her. Doesn't rule out that she said something stupid, because she always does. But let's go over here, talk about Glenn Beck for a minute. Glenn Beck, back during Obama's 2 terms, the first year, you could not stand it. You cried every friggin' day on Fox. You hated that man's guts. God, somebody please get him out. 2nd year, 3rd year, 4th year. And all of a sudden, you lose your job with Fox. But before you left, what did you say? I'm going to read it verbatim, quote. Because Glenn Beck said George Soros owns Hillary Clinton. Get this. And this is why we need Donald Trump as president. Yeah, I wrote it down. You can go on the site and you can hear him. You can hear him. You can read it yourself. This is why you need Donald Trump as president, because George Soros is going to support Hillary up and make her president. What changed since that time and now, Glenn Beck? I know what changed. I know exactly what changed. You can't lie out of this one. You were paid off just like the rest of them were paid off. Every friggin' year, look, everybody in there steals from me and from my neighbors and from the people that work hard and work their butt off. And you took a piece of that just to shut up and to move on and then start talking bad about Donald Trump because now he's winning. And then you found an excuse to talk bad because you picked a guy like Cruz to be buddies with. And now Donald Trump said something bad about Cruz. And now you're pissed off at Trump even more. But it makes it really bad when he's winning still. All right, let's move on to the next subject. Oh, by the way, Beck, me and you not buddies anymore. Next subject and last. The same time Putin made an announcement. I don't know exactly who made that announcement, but I heard it on talk radio. I heard it. I've read it, God, all day long, 3 days now, 4 days. But it started, ironically, either the day of or the day after the UN told Benjamin Netanyahu, get your Jews off of the Temple Mount. That's out of bounds for you. I wouldn't want to be within 20 miles of Benjamin Netanyahu. And if that squirt was standing in front of him when he said that, he would have died that day. And I'm not saying Netanyahu would have been the one that killed him. Look, God made property, and he made a whole lot of it. But yet, in this entire earth, why is it that only a few greedy SOBs, a piece of land that'll never grow a blade of grass or produce a single olive or even raise a tomato on, will not grow for anybody on earth except the Jews? If the Jews were to leave today, then that land would die today. And it will stay dead until the Jews come back. That's biblical, guys. That is biblical. When the Jews came, the ground, the rocks, the dried up trees, the water that was several feet underground burst forward. My people's home. The rocks was just crying out to the Jews, our people's home. And the olives, all of a sudden, they went from growing nothing to so heavy they're weighing down the trees. And the trees are 1,000 years old. They've been dead for 1,000 years. But now they're growing. Why? Because God gave that land to the Jews, and God told the land, you'll not produce for anyone except my people. And when they get there, you'll remember them. And they did. And the land remembered. And it's still producing. No one tells anyone, especially the Jews, to get off of that rock. Because that, my friend, will bring a war. And it'll be a nasty war at that. So if Putin wants to make a stink out of a real stink, you just stick your nose in their crap over there and you'll know what stink is. It'll be all over you. But I don't believe that is all. It seemed like Putin and Iran are getting really close to each other, like maybe rubbing, I don't know, since there's so many, people changing their bodies so they can get married. Maybe one of them had a sex change. Jody Wolf Expoz.